And we're back, everybody. Except this time, we're on Facebook and on YouTube. How's everybody doing? Hopefully, everybody knows the drill by now. Please let me know that you can hear me okay. All right, cool. Sounds like audio is working just fine. And I already see a question. Loping CSF, you want to know our mini standard 9-ball rules, or is it a point race like APA? Well, we are here to review my 9-ball mini matches that I had when I was in Las Vegas for the 8-ball Scotch Doubles World Championship. I played in a 8-player 9-ball mini tournament. It was like a $20 entry fee, I think, per player. And I won the event. It took me 3 matches to be able to get there. So we're going to get to watch it. And so your question is it a regular game or is it a point race? It's still a point race, but it's a shortened point race because as a skill level 9, I'm used to going to, I think it's 75 points when you do regular APA league. And in the mini match, I only had to go to 66, I believe it was. And then, of course, depending upon who my opponent was, they only had to go to whatever their skill level was. So, okay. Oh, good. I see that I got some Facebook people here, so I certainly want to give them a shout out. We've got Rudy Yee. Let me know that my audio was good, so I really do appreciate that. Russ Randall, thank you so much for being here. And let alone, here is my 8-ball Scotch Doubles partner. He's at the pool hall. I think he's currently playing Pool League right now, but he still has my live stream probably most likely on his phone while this is going on, so he can't hear anything. But it's great that you hear. It's great that you hear, Josh. Man, holy crap! I haven't even gotten started, and already tons of questions are coming in. This is awesome. Michael, you want to know what's the best way to stay consistent with your shooting? Well, I don't think I can give you like a magic bullet answer. You know, I would think clearly that your question is geared more towards how do you miss less. So the best answer I can at least give you is obviously practice. That's going to be pretty plain and clear. But the other thing that I would add, which is something that I've been trying to make sure that my APA teammates are more aware of, and that is you have to be, or in my opinion, you have to be very meticulous in what you're doing. So this kind of goes down to your pre-shot routine. How much time do you take to analyze the shot? And then how long are you down on the shot? How many times do you do your practice strokes before you actually fire? If you were to keep track of all of that and just make sure that you're doing the same thing on every single solitary shot. I think it's very common that when you are faced with an easy shot, you kind of rush right through your pre-shot routine. You might not even do a practice stroke. You'll just get down and shoot the shot. So with regards to your question, let me bring it back up here again. What's the best way to stay consistent with your shooting? Treat every shot the same exact way and try to meticulously go through your pre-shot routine on every single solitary shot. More times than not, at least in my experience, you will find that one of the reasons why you might miss a shot is because of a step that you might have missed in your pre-shot routine, because a lot of it's just also going to just boil down to timing. Now, I can probably advise you that if you do decide to start being more meticulous in your pre-shot routine, you might notice that you're probably going to start playing a little bit slower. I think that's perfectly okay, because the more you practice being that meticulous, then before you know it, you'll actually speed up or speed back up to your normal pace, as long as you're still going through your pre-shot routine very meticulously. So I hope that makes sense. Now, I want to keep answering questions, but before I do and before I go any further, y'all know I have to give my shout outs to my sponsors here. So you're going to see the sliding show here. There we go. Onboard Sportswear. They are the company that makes the jerseys for the Mosconi Cup. And in yesterday's stream that I had on Facebook, I had my own personal jersey with my own logo, but this jersey here is the one that I wear when I play APA 8-ball on my Monday Night League, and this is the name of our team, 8-Ball Physics. So you can see how we created a logo, slapped it on the shirt, chose the designs, everything else, etc., etc. So if you think that you might be interested in this just for yourself, or let alone you want to be able to provide, have your team have matching type of jerseys, you can visit their website, onboardsportswear.com, or if you live in the United States, onboardsportswear.us. Use my discount code that you see here, LilChris10, and you can get 10% off of your purchase. You can see there we also have Outsville. They are the makers of the Accu-Racks, which is a form of a template rack, so that way you can have the perfect rack every single solitary time. All the balls will be touching. You have a 8-ball rack here that you can actually use for both, or for all of the games, 8-ball, 9-ball, and 10-ball. They do have a dedicated 10-ball rack as well as a dedicated 9-ball rack. If anybody likes to play 3-ball, they have a 3-ball rack. And then they have this thing called a shark skin, which is nothing more than the cloth saver. You put this underneath your cue ball when you're breaking, so that way you can help prevent burn marks from occurring from wherever you repeatedly break. If you visit their website, outsville.com, and use my discount code LilChris, LIL''CHRIS, you can get 10% off your purchase. Then you just saw TaomBilliards. They are one of my more recent sponsors. I do not have a discount code with them anymore, but TaomBilliards is very well known for their V10 chalk, or their chalk in general, amongst other products, as well as like their gloves or anything. But all I can tell you is how great and wonderful the chalk is, because of how clean it is on your hands, and that it leaves no residue on the cue ball, unless of course you miscue. But any chalk is going to leave residue on the cue ball. What else? We saw. I think the next one that's going to pop up is Moonlighting Billiards. There it is, right there. They are the company that make these cool little cutout templates. The ones that I'm using here is from their Travel Road edition here. And you can see it's kind of curved, and it's got 2 cutouts for you to place balls inside of. And so if you link these together, you can actually create a semicircle. This is just one of the types of templates that they have. They also have a straight line template where you can put 3 balls in. And then they have their large drill partner where you can have 9 balls in a straight line. If you visit their website, moonlightingbilliards.com, you can use my discount code that I do have there, LilChris10, and get 10% off of your purchase for these. And then last but not least, which I think is going to be the next one that pops up, JFlowers. Y'all know that I've been helping the JFlower company for well over a year now, but within the past, I think it was, when did I make the announcement? Let's have a look. I think at least for the past month now, May 20th was when I made the announcement. 1, 2, 3, yeah, almost 3 weeks ago. So almost a month. I'm now exclusively using their stuff. At the point in time when I actually made the announcement of exclusively using their stuff, I did have a discount code, but it's expired again. So unfortunately, I can't give another discount code out for them. But I do exclusively use their stuff. Is it going to be, everybody's going to wonder, like, how does it compare to what I previously used and everything else? And, all I can tell you is that I personally don't feel a difference. And I'm not going to try to talk one product up over another. I think y'all hopefully know me well enough by now that even though I might be sponsored by these companies, I try not to be biased in my opinions with how these products are and how they feel and how they perform and everything else. I try to be as real as I can. And clearly, I think it would be fairly obvious that if I didn't like these products, I wouldn't use them. I think that should be pretty plain and clear. Okay, so now that's all out of the way. Let me look at and see if there are any other questions before we get down to the nitty gritty here. Kevin Bowie actually used to comment on a lot of my pool coaching lesson videos that I had here, and he says it's been a long time and my beard has gotten bitter. And he says, does it help me with my pool game? No, unless I want to say that if I look more like a mountain man, since I'm only 5'5", do I look any more intimidating to my opponent? I seriously doubt it. But it's good to see you, Kevin. Let's see here. Okay, so it doesn't look like I have any more questions here. So, okay. So like I said, I have 3 because it was an 8-player tournament. I won the tournament and I have 3 matches. I recorded all 3. Well, I didn't record all 3 of them. I live streamed all 3 of them to my Facebook page. So I went ahead and downloaded them off of my Facebook page. The camera setup is not the greatest in comparison to like when I do my APA matches, because I wasn't recording these with my actual camcorder. I wasn't streaming with my camcorder. I was streaming with my phone. I did have a tripod, so I set things up as best as I possibly could. But because it's a live stream, there are going to be times that when the there's going to be times when the video starts to get pixelated, and that would be because of my reception that I had in the building. So I will go ahead and apologize ahead of time that when the video clip actually starts to get a little bad, it'll eventually correct itself, and then we'll still be able to resume from there. But the idea of me reviewing my matches is to see what I could have done better to either win better or make less, or I say win better because I think that summarizes everything that I'm going to do here. Whenever I make a mistake, like miss a shot or miss a transition, or maybe I should have played safe rather than trying to play aggressive, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What could I have done differently so that when we look at the point spread, could I have increased the point spread? Because considerably that if I've won all my matches, spoiler alert, right? What are we actually here for? Well, even if you win, I think it can be beneficial to find out how could you win better, obviously by making less mistakes. So hopefully that's what we're going to be able to see in these matches, is where I could have made less mistakes. Did I just miss a shot that I shouldn't have missed? Should I have transitioned from the previous shots better to get to the shot that I missed and have better position? All kinds of different things like that. So what we'll end up doing here is I'm clearly going to try to commentate what I was doing at the time, and then I'll try to provide some commentary as to what my opponents may or may not have been doing. Because considering that this has been quite a while since I've been back from Vegas, I've had these queued up for quite a long time. I am certainly not going to remember every detail of every shot, or let alone what my opponent was trying to do as well. But it's got to be obvious when we're going to shoot the 1 ball, when we're going to shoot the 2 ball, 3 ball, 4 ball, etc. Because that's what makes doing 9 ball commentary a little bit easier, is that your pattern is kind of forced, since you have to shoot the balls in numerical order. So I think without further ado, let's go ahead and look at the first match that I had for the tournament, and then we'll take a break in between each of the matches there so that way I can try to answer some questions and so on and so forth. Let's go. So now I haven't really got to use this layout for quite some time, because when I do my 8-ball live streams, you can see that I have more of a blackish gray type of theme, and then when I'm playing straight pool, everything is more kind of green, and now we're yellow since we're playing some 9-ball. So one thing I can say is that all 3 of my matches, I was playing up against a skill level 7. So what I don't know is whether or not if I was the only skill level 9 in the tournament. I don't know. If I was, I mean, so be it. If I wasn't, because this 8-player tournament was restricted to skill level 7, skill level 8, and skill level 9. And considering that I played nothing but skill level 7s, either the opponents that I met in round 2 and then in the finals, they either beat their opponent, which was either another skill level 7, maybe a skill level 8, or a skill level 9. I'm not entirely sure. I just know that all 3 of my opponents were skill level 7s. That's why we see that the race is going to be my 66 to their 48, which is a shortened race than what you would normally see inside of a true APA league match, which I can go ahead and look up because I don't know what it is off the top of my head, other than I know I'm supposed to go to 75. So normally it would be a race to 75 to 55, but now it's been shortened to a race to 66 to 48. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and see who's going to break first. And as you can see, the video is already starting to get pixelated, but it looks like I lost the lag. So I'm just going to go ahead and speed this up a bit, get to my opponent's break. Now the video's cleared itself up. So we've got the standard breaking from all the way from the side rails. My opponent likes to break on the right side of the table. Everybody that follows me knows that I like to break from the left side of the table. We've got the 1 ball in the side pocket, very common thing that you can actually do there. My opponent already scores a point. Now again, I do apologize if the balls are difficult to determine here, but we've got 2 ball. The 3 ball looks right here. This looks like the 4 and the 5. These are Aramith balls, so therefore we have a purple 5, or a purple 4 and an orange 5. We don't have a pink 4 and a purple 5. Then we got the 6 ball here, 7 ball here, 8 ball here, and the 9 ball here. So this would be a matter of, is my opponent going to play the 2 ball and then possibly set up for a 3-9 combination? Let's see what he decides to do. Okay, plays the 2 ball. Might have overrolled the 3 ball a bit. I don't know if he's still going to attempt to do something with that 9 ball. Let's find out. Nope, looks like he decided to play a safety instead. So my first inning, coming to the table here, I'm forced to do some sort of kick shot. So that's why you see me standing off to the side here as I use the 1 rail kicking system. But I'm getting to a point now where I can almost visualize the lines from that system rather than laying my stick down. So when I practice a system enough, that's what I'll end up trying to do most of the time, is try to visualize everything. But then if I start not making good hits more over the course of time, then I'll start measuring it back out. So I was at least able to make a good hit, but didn't really necessarily get a good leave. So let's see how my opponent plays the 3 into the top right corner pocket and see how he gets position on the 4. All the way around, 3 rails, maybe 4 rails. And that's a good shot. I would probably anticipate maybe another safety here. Or maybe not. How did we do that? I got to see that again. That was actually pretty cool. If I had to guess, it looks like the 4 ball caroms off the 5 and then it caroms off the 7 at the perfect angle for it to be able to go into the side pocket there. Whether or not if that was intentional, I'm not entirely sure. Considering that my opponent drew the ball, that may have been intentional. And the rest of the layout looks pretty good. I think the hard transition is going to be from the 7 to the 8. But going from the 5 to the 6 should be okay. It looks like he's going to draw the cue ball. Well, not so sure about that. He does have at least a 6-7 combination. Oh, and that's what he plays. What a shot. So, how would y'all try to get to the 8 ball from here? Would y'all use top right spin and try to zigzag your way up? Would you try to cross bank the 6 ball, which looks like that's what he tried to do, but he scratches? All right, so I have cue ball in hand, so the question becomes, where do I want to try to get position on the 8? So you saw first I looked at trying to make the 6 ball into the side pocket, but I decided to go into the corner, and I definitely want to try to put enough topspin on the cue ball so I can roll forward and get behind the 9 ball. I even use the side rail. So that way I know that I'm at least behind the 9 ball. I don't know if I'm behind it too much. Like, do I need to flare my cue ball on this one? I'm not sure. No, I just played in. Okay, so there's the split there. First rack, my opponent has the lead 6-4. So nothing really special about that first rack there. So we saw that my opponent breaks from the right. I'm going to break from the left. I think here I'm still pretty much trying to break like if he was racking with a templated rack. So I just have just a touch of topspin. I'm going to smack that 1 ball fairly straight, if I remember correctly, and kind of just try to plant the cue ball in the middle of the table. Oh, except I don't hit it flat. I end up cutting it. So did I make a ball? Looks like I did. 3, 6, 8. But no shot on the 1 ball, so I'm more than likely going to play a safety here. So just done nothing more than just stuck the cue ball there and banked the 1 ball on the other side. So now my opponent's going to be forced to kick. Oh, thank you so much for that. Let's see here. Why is my score not showing? I didn't even notice that. Let's see here. Where is my score? That's a really good question. Or you know what? Let's see here. Oh, there it is. It's starting to come out now. Let's go ahead and do this. It doesn't look like it's going to have a border, though. What in the world is it doing? Here, I tell you what. Now you get to see some on-the-fly editing here as we try to fix this. So 76 by 96. That's why. Let's see here. Give me just a second here. 76 by 96. So let's change this. Whoops. I'm actually surprised I did not catch this. How unprofessional of me. What's not working here? Oh, well that would be the reason why. So let's change this. Now where'd my score go? There it is. Okay. That that certainly took its time there. Okay, so that means, where is this guy located? We've got this, this, and then this, most likely. Where is he located? So there's that. This is what you get to do in OBS. If people want to learn how to use OBS. And actually what I need to do is this, I think. All right, so 107 by 89. And this is 107 by 89. So now, whoa. There we go. There's my little border that I like to put around it. And it looks like I need to lower this. Push it over a bit. And I'm not going to spend too much time with this now. There we go. And let's do this. And I think that's as good as it's gonna get. That's as good as it's gonna get. All right, so we're fixed on that now. Okay, so my opponent wasn't able to kick at the one ball, so my safety was successful. So now, how do I want to attempt to run the table here? We've got the one ball here, two ball here, three ball here, four ball here, five ball, 7, 8, and 9. Am I setting up for the side pocket? Looks like I did. That was done with some top left spin. I must have an angle that I don't want. So, oh, never mind. I was flat on the ball, so nothing more than just a stop shot. Probably some type of stop shot again, maybe a draw shot. And then I would have to, what would I do here? Inside 3 rails and go behind the 9, or just bottom right spin and probably 2 rail this. So yeah, bottom right spin with a 2 railer. There's the risk of that if I hit it too hard or not hard enough, but this looks okay. I think here would just be a draw shot to make sure that I try to pull it below the side pocket so I don't scratch. Okay, that looked okay there. Checking the angle that I would get on the 9 ball so that way, or I'm sorry, on the 8 ball, so that way I can figure out how to transition over to the 9 ball. Something you see me do quite often in my 8 ball league matches here, but they're also just as important to do on 9 ball matches. So that was nothing more than just stunning the cue ball off of the rail. And the question is, I can't tell from the camera angle here, is my cue ball going to roll forward down to this rail and then back up to get position on the 9? Or if I'm cutting, then am I stunning over here? Because it looks like I'm stunning the cue ball. Nope, I drew the cue ball. Never mind. So that means I was really flat on the 8 ball. This is funny. Hector, shoot the 5 next in the correct pattern. Well, if we had the pink 4 and the purple 5, I would actually be able to do that. So, benefits of playing safety, right? I had the opening shot after the break, and I played safe on the 1. My opponent wasn't able to successfully hit the 1 ball, gave me ball in hand, and I was able to take the entire rack. So if you're not used to playing safeties, hopefully something like this would show you the benefits of playing safeties from time to time, especially in 9 ball. There we go. There's the little pop that I'm looking for, and kind of squat the cue ball in the middle of the table. Yes. So Kyle Kerr, you're asking, we had to pay to play even. In these mini tournaments, we did. In the actual 8-ball Scotch Doubles World Championship, we didn't have to pay for the games. Only in the mini events did we have to pay. So what do y'all do here, folks? I've got a 9-point lead. Do you try to cut the 1 ball, or do you play safe? I went ahead and tried to cut it, because look what happens if I miss. All right, the 6 and the 4 ball kind of guard me, and then I have a shot at the 2 ball. But I didn't cut it enough. So it looks like my opponent's trying to check to see if he can actually go rail first and then be able to back cut the 1 ball in. Okay, it doesn't look like he can directly kick at the spot, so he tries to swerve into the spot, but we end up with a dead ball since my opponent fouled. So cue ball in hand, and think about it. I mean, anytime any player gets cue ball in hand with a wide open table, it as long as you have good cue ball control, the table should be yours. But when we look at this, here's the important thing that I think should be occurring both in 8-ball and 9-ball. Specifically in 9-ball, though. I talked about this before that I learned from Demetrius about how to, what's the right word I'm looking for? Organize your focus on the on the game here. Yes, we're playing 9-ball, but in reality, we're playing 5-ball. As far as I'm concerned. Why do I say that? Well, the 4 to the 5 I think is going to be the most important transition, because look, here's the 4 ball. Clearly I could shoot the 2 ball into the corner pocket here and probably just keep the cue ball somewhere right here and shoot the 3 ball up here. That's apparent. But when I shoot the 4 ball, how do I want to try to transition to the 5 ball? Specifically, so 1, I don't get hooked behind the 8 ball. And the reason why it's referred to as the key transition is because if you hit that transition, then more than likely you should be able to run the rack. So really what has to happen here is I have to make sure I get the correct position on the 4 ball so that it is easier for me to get position on the 5 ball. And so what might that be? Well, I think we can see, I'm going to rewind a little bit to about right here, and we can see first, look how I'm looking at the 4 ball already from this angle here. Because then watch what I do next. This is all my planning. You see how I took my cue here and then drug it over here? If I remember this correctly, that means I'm going to be trying to do something like this, where I want to play the 4 ball into this corner pocket and make my cue ball do something like this. go behind the 6 and go right down that line that you saw me drag my cue, so that way I can get position on the 5. I believe that's what I did here. So that means now, after I play the 2 and get position on the 3, what type of position do I want on the 3 in order to be able to do this type of route? Well, more than likely, if I had my cue ball something like this and shot the 3 ball into the corner pocket, I can most likely just stun over into that position. So I hope that makes sense. Let's see if I actually did that. As you can see right there, I'm tapping my finger, looking at the 5 ball. That's the most important ball on the table for me. If I get to that, if I can get to that ball, then I should be able to run the rack. And as you can see how close we are to the other tables, and I almost accidentally bumped into that lady wearing the red shirt, and I just hopped away. So 2 ball in the corner, like I talked about. Most likely just maybe hold the cue ball in position. Well, maybe not like that. I don't know if that was such a great idea. If I had to guess, that means my cue ball is going to go into the side rail and come back out. Probably just a rolling cue ball. Kind of like that. Now maybe just a little too far, but I'm not straight in on the shot line anyway, so this should be good. So that prep work that you saw me do earlier, where I laid my cue down here and then kind of drug it over this way, that was me already visualizing the path. And see right here, I'm looking to see where do I want to hit this side rail in order to come all the way back up over here. So I'm pretty sure this is probably a little bit of stun with a lot of right spin. And there, I'm able to hit that key transition. So now I'm not guaranteed to run the rack, but I should be able to finish the rack here. Right, I got on the natural cut angle to where all I had to do was just follow the ball, got past the shot line of the 6 ball, which is going to be okay because that means my cue ball is going to go right back into the side rail. And again, with some stun right, I'm going to pull the cue ball back towards me and get position on the 8. So again, sorry for the pixelation here. Now I think this is where I messed up though, because I got flat on the 8 and I didn't want to get flat on the 8. Right, so all I could do was roll forward, and I rolled forward too far. And this is going to be why I said I'm not guaranteed to run the rack, because I still have to make sure that my cue ball control is on par. And you can see right when I hit the ball, I automatically knew that I missed. Now, I see a question here. Why take 2 rails and bring the 6 into play? Why not just play 1 rail? Playing 1 rail is certainly an option, but playing 1 rail means I have to get flatter on the ball, which means I have to get closer to the shot line. So therefore, my position play has to be a whole lot tighter. And then since I'm going to be hitting the ball fuller, I have to hit it harder in order to go from one end of the table all the way back up to the other end of the table. Now, I personally don't think I'm bringing that 6 ball into play because of my understanding of how I can actually move the cue ball around. Could I have hit the 6 ball at the point in time? I mean, sure, I'm risking that. Yes, I'm not going to dispute that. But my confidence in my cue ball control, and y'all saw, like I hit on the side rail where I measured. Right, so I can't say, at least for myself, that I was bringing the 6 ball into play. Maybe for other people, yeah, that might be a consideration. Let's see, I got to give him his 2 points. So yeah, 21 to 8. I think that is it. Plus, considering that I'm also using multiple rails, I can also hit the cue ball harder, because each time the cue ball comes in contact with the rail, the speed of the cue ball gets lessened, or I always like to say broken, because the rails become brakes. It breaks the cue ball. So it allows you to let your stroke out a little bit, Whereas in, like I said, since we're only using one rail, and in order to go one rail and back up, you have to hit the cue ball rather hard in order to do that. And I think everybody can understand that the harder you start to hit the cue ball, the less accurate you start to be. But is one rail position an option? It certainly is an option. But since I have trained with Demetrius a few years ago, I'm much more comfortable at spinning my cue ball around rails because, like I said, one, it allows me to let go of my stroke. And then two, I also start creating routes to where, or transitional routes to where my cue ball is hopefully going into the shot line of the next ball or away from the shot line to the next ball. So that way, no matter what, unless I hit it way too hard, I'm always going to be having a shot. Whereas the one rail position, you're crossing the shot line of the next ball. And whenever you're crossing the shot line of the next ball, you run the risk of not hitting it hard enough, which goes to your point of why not go one rail? Well, if you don't hit it hard enough, you don't get position. And then if you hit it too hard, you cross the shot line and then you lose your shot as well. So with my ability and the way that I'm able to play, I'm able to better judge how hard I'm supposed to hit and then how I'm supposed to spin the cue ball around in order to get that position to land on that 5 ball. So I hope that makes sense, Robert. Now, it doesn't look like I can see the 3 ball. I guess I can since I'm not doing anything fancy. I must be trying to cut it down here. Yep. And considering that I undercut the ball, that means the ball was actually makeable. I just needed to cut it a little bit more, but I failed to do so. Let's see if another spot like that comes up and we can talk more about that. Great shot by my opponent there. Good position on the 4 ball, but let's look at the 5. So we know my opponent's going to cut the 4 over here to the left. The cue ball's going to go to the right. Is he going to try to go behind the 9 ball and come back out, or is he going to go, or is he going to try to draw over maybe into the 7 ball? So he tries to draw over into the 7 ball, and then accidentally ends up hooking himself. Now let's actually look at this again, because the question is, can he go around? I mean, he was able to do this and go in between those. So I don't know. Could he have just floated right behind the 9 ball like that and then come back out to the side rail? Not entirely sure. Maybe if my camera was up a little bit higher and I was more zoomed in on the table, we can have a better angle to know what was actually possible. Hey, he does at least make a legal hit. And gets a decent leave off of it as well, because I've got a really thin cut shot on the 5 to go here into the corner. There is probably no way for me to hit this soft enough to get my cue ball to land somewhere right around here. So if I know that correctly, I would probably think I'm going to try to zigzag my cue ball like this. Maybe land on the short side of the 6 ball. This probably looks something like this. Yeah, see, that's at least what I tried. You know, I knew that I couldn't hold the cue ball right here, so my only option was to zigzag it up the table. So since my lead is actually pretty good, I'm feeling pretty confident to go ahead and try to cut this ball in. I think all I have is just top spin on the cue ball. I'm expecting my cue ball somewhere over here for position on the 7. Oh, and I scratched. So considering the 8 ball is here, this is probably where you'll see a 1 rail option. right? And that makes sense. That makes sense. But I would venture that if this 8-ball wasn't here, this is where the 2-rail option comes into place. This goes, I think this goes a little bit more into your question, Robert, because when we look at this, here is the shot line to the 7-ball. So, and we've got a pretty darn big zone that we can try to land in, but we saw that my opponent's route was to go this way through it, right? Essentially crossing it. So if we don't hit this hard enough, we can see how much more difficult our shot is going to be going into the upper right corner pocket if we don't cross into this part of the zone. And if we hit it too hard and hit this rail, then we automatically exit the shot zone, and then we pretty much don't have a shot. And I'm actually going to change my lines to be a little bit thinner. If we look at this again, now this is much more easier to see. If we look at this again, and let's just imagine that the 8-ball wasn't there, and we attempted to do this type of shot where we shoot the ball in and spin our cue ball this way, the moment we touch this rail, our cue ball is doing this, heading straight towards the 7-ball. So in this case here, the only thing I really have to worry about is hitting it too hard, because I will end up going through the 7-ball. And so this is usually where you want to do like your judgment calls of, do you want to cross the shot line or do you want to go in and out of the shot line, if that option is even available. In this case here, I don't think the option is available, because if we try to go this route, we're bringing the 8-ball into play, like your question was previously about bringing the 6-ball into play. So doing the 1-rail option here, or doing the 1-rail option here, I think was a good choice. So I hope that makes more sense now. Okay, draws back, has position on the 8. Who draws the cue ball from here, and who pushes the cue ball to the head rail and back out? Well, he tried to push it. I think that's the way I would have played it as well. I would have pushed to the end rail and tried to come back up. I don't think I would have tried to draw the cue ball. Now, because of where I'm at here, I think this is kind of like I think everybody's heard the term of taking your medicine. Because, I mean, look at where the 8-ball is and look at where the 9-ball is. Does it look like I'm trying to play position by getting the cue ball past the side pockets on this side of the table to get position on the 9? I don't think so. It looks like I might have some topspin on the cue ball, considering that I'm so close to the rails. But I'm pretty sure I probably have some right spin on the cue ball as well, as I'm going to try to do this, make the ball in, and then just have my cue ball do this. And then from somewhere in this area here, just try to cut the 9-ball over here. I'm pretty sure that's what I tried to do. Kyle Kerr, no, these are only 7-foot tables. Right? I'm not going to... I played it this way, 1, so that I can score the point, and then 2, I'm not going to further complicate my shot in order to try to get better position, because the more complicated I make the shot, the more likely I might end up missing the shot. I would rather be in this type of position here and just try to rely on my shot making abilities to be able to make the shot. Now, if the cue ball was further off of the rail, well then yeah, I would clearly try to do better position, because I have easier access to the rest of the cue ball without having to try to elevate my cue. Okay, looks like work is pinging me, so I'm just going to mute that computer. Well, it's not that I'm getting pinged, but my messenger on here is going off. That looked like that must have been shot like this. Okay, somebody's missing a point. I'm going to give it to my opponent. This is the hard part about doing live streams and back off. Doing live streams and having all this interaction here, that I very easily lose track of the score. Oh, I accidentally crossed the rack on that one. I don't ever really, if I'm breaking from the left, I either want to hit the one ball square from where I'm at or do a cut break to the left. I don't really ever want to cross the rack, me personally. But it does look like I was at least able to make a ball. Let's see here. One ball goes into the side pocket. Looks like I just go to the short or to the side rail and back out. And then when we look at this, we can see that my the 7 ball is in the way. So I'd be curious to know, am I going to try to land over here close to the side rail and try to take a back cut shot on the 3 ball? If I do, that's probably just going to be done with some side spin. So I can probably try to cut the 2 in and then just gently pull it back this way with spin. Oh, am I going to go in the middle of the table instead? Okay, that works as well. It looks like I have an angle now to where I can use bottom right spin and come underneath the 7 ball to the side rail and back out towards the middle of the table for position on the 5 here. Wait, that doesn't look like bottom right. What is that? Oh, I just rolled it in to play the 5 in the side pocket so that way I can just roll forward for the 6. So I misjudged that one. Definitely got some top spin on this one here. So that shot was certainly risky, right? Let's go back and look at this. This is obviously a risky shot, I would say, because I'm crossing the shot line and that 9 ball comes into play, right? I think we all can agree on that, because if I hit this too hard, I lose my shot. There's nothing I can actually do here. Look at this, right? Because look how small my window must be with that 9 ball being there, but I went ahead and made the choice to go ahead and play this, so that way it's easier for me to transition to the 6 ball. But I did run a risk. I think I'm on 29 now. This is most likely a stun back over to the other side of the table, position on the 7. And so here's another thing that you have to consider when you're playing position, at least in 9 ball. Actually, let's go back. I think I'm on 30 now. Let's go back to here, right here. When I transition from the 6 to the 7, here's the shot line to the 6, or I'm sorry, the shot line to the 7. And I know it's not completely accurate. Do I want to land right here? Do I want to be straight in on the 7 when I transition from the 7 to the, or from the 6 to the 7? And Kyle, you said I have 31. Thank you. But do I want to land right here? What does everybody think? Do I want to be straight in on the 7? Because I would think not, right? Anytime you land straight in on a ball, I think the only ball that you ever really want to be straight in on would be the 9 ball, or if you're playing 8 ball, would be the 8 ball. Because whenever you're straight in on a ball, the only thing you can do is either stop the cue ball, roll forward with the cue ball, or draw backwards. Those are your only 3 things that you can do. So we've ruled out that we don't want to land straight on the ball, so that means we can only either land on this side of the shot line or this side of the shot line. And which side would be better? I don't want to say correct, because I don't think there's really a right or wrong answer here. It's just which one would be better. I think there are some of you out there that might argue that this side would be better, because you can back cut the 7 ball in and stun back over this way, and you would not be incorrect. And then there are some of us, like myself, that think that this side would be better. And the reason why I think this side would be better is because I can use the rail. Anytime I can use the rail, that becomes a powerful position, in my opinion. Because 1, I can let my stroke out, use the rail to break the cue ball, and have it come back over. Here, though an option, you have to make sure that you control this with the right amount of bottom spin and the right amount of speed, so that way you can pull the cue ball back over here. Again, just my opinion though. No right or wrong answer, but in my opinion, I think this side of the shot line is better. And that's why I play it that way. Because now I'm going to have my cue ball go over to the side rail and then back out. Oh, hey. Here's my opponent. Good to see you here, man. Oh, looks like I'm actually following forward on this one. So I ended up landing 2 straight. So, but look what I got. Look what I was able to do here, because I'm on that side of the shot line, and I'm able to use my rails. I mean, I unleash a high inside 3-railer, and I just recently published a high inside 3-railer drill. So look how this looks. Like I can comfortably let my stroke out and just let the cue ball go, and it really doesn't matter where I end up on the 8-ball, because I can just move from the 8-ball strictly over to the 9-ball, and it looks like I'm going to be doing this with some bottom right spin. Probably end up on this side. And you saw that I didn't hit it hard enough because I wanted to be able to come over to this rail, because the moment I hit this rail, I'm going into the shot line of the 9-ball, making it easier, though where I landed is okay. That doesn't look right. Did I miss some points there? Or actually, that doesn't look right either. I think that's right. So there I was able to make the one in the side. Did I make the wing ball as well? I did make the wing ball. So that would be, in my opinion, an indication of a good rack, a good rack being given. Both the 1-ball fell into the side pocket and the wing ball falls. Typically, the wing ball doesn't fall on a hand rack. And what I mean by that is because, you know, there's usually going to be guaranteed some amount of gaps inside of the rack that causes everything to not function properly in order to make the wing ball like you would normally do with a templated rack. So here, what am I trying to do? Just cut the 2-ball in. I don't think I had any spin on the cue ball. So that was nothing more than just top spin and just let things go naturally. I see I have top spin again. Am I doing 3 rails again, or just coming out towards the? Nope, that's 3 rails again, right? You can see how I going back to again to Robert Allison's question, how I fancy using rails when I play 9-ball. I don't really do this a whole lot when I'm playing 8-ball. Right, because when I'm playing 8-ball, I like to minimize my cue ball movement. But when I'm playing 9-ball and I try to get on what we've already seen in the live chat here, the good side of the shot line, so that way we can unleash the cue ball to move around in order to have the cue ball, like I said, flow into the shot line or flow away from the shot line. And every once in a while, we might actually cross the shot line. So in this case here, I'm actually crossing the shot line, right? Because here's the 4-ball. Look what I made my cue ball do. This. All right, so I'm clearly crossing the shot line in this case here. And that's what top. It's done with some top right. So here I have to be very careful with my speed control, because if I clearly hit it too hard, the cue ball continues to move and move and move, and to the point to where I end up losing my shot. Leanne Disney, thank you so much for subscribing to my YouTube channel. I really do appreciate it. Now, we look at this. It doesn't look like I put the cue ball where I wanted, because the 6-ball should be shot over here. So I wanted my cue ball to be somewhere probably over here. This is probably another inside spin shot. This is, let me pause the video. I always hate that I have to do this. Is it right spin again? Because I would have to venture a guess that I'm trying to do this. Probably something to that effect. right? Think how hard I had to hit that ball in order to make all that happen. And I'm comfortable doing that. How many of y'all are comfortable trying to move the cue ball like that? And that looked like that was done with some top left, and I hit that one way too hard, I think. But I landed in an okay position here to where I can just roll forward to the short side of the 9 ball. Oh, I just stopped the cue ball there. And I think this was a break and run. Yeah. Let's see here. What happened here? A guy you regularly play at the bar showed me my O-rail kicking system. Oh, but the bar you ended up playing at closed. That's unfortunate, Bree. Sorry to hear that. Oh, went too far. Oh, one-rail kicking system. Well, there again, I accidentally crossed the rack. Don't normally mean to do that, but I still end up successfully making a ball, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then clearly, we've got an issue right here. So I think this is actually a good spot to talk about. So if I wanted to attempt to break and run this rack, clearly, this becomes a priority. Because what in the heck am I going to do with the 5 ball? I kind of talk about this like when I talk about breaking and running 8 ball racks, because you look for trouble spots and you have to try to solve the trouble spots as soon as possible. But when we look at the layout of this table, do we see an opportunity where I can move that 5 ball and maintain a shot at the next object ball? Because right now we look and see that I'm going to shoot the 1 ball possibly into the side pocket. I think it passes by the 2 ball. And clearly I'm not going to flare my cue ball around in order to break out the 5 and still maintain position on the 2. Right? That's unreasonable. Even if I do get position on the 2, how do I make the 2 ball break out the 5 and get position on the 3, etc., etc.? So the point that I'm trying to make here is more than likely what I'm going to do is I'm going to play all the way to the 5 ball, and then I'm just going to play safe. Let's see if I do that. Top spin on the 1 ball. 1 in the side. Come back out for the 2 in the side. That was a stop shot. Probably another stop shot here. Stun shot. Because notice I didn't pay much attention to like what the heck. I didn't spend a lot of time trying to figure out what the heck I was going to do with the 5 ball. So that tells me that, see what I tried to do here? Like I don't even try to play position, or I play position, but I'm playing position for a safety. And I didn't really do the greatest of safeties, but I hope the point that I was trying to make makes sense here. So I give an opportunity to my opponent, but I'm not giving him like a straight in shot to a pocket opportunity. He has to earn the table back by at least kicking out the ball. Whether he kicks it in skillfully or luckily, he's coming back to the table under my conditions, not because I messed up. Okay, good kick. And do we get lucky? Oh, almost. 9 ball almost got in my way. And actually, I think that should have been an inning after me. So what am I doing when I stand over here? Well, clearly, I'm looking at this. Whoops. Clearly, I'm looking at this. But then I'm also looking at, well, where does my cue ball go all by itself? And I wouldn't want to scratch, obviously. So I would have to think that I'm going to hit this cue ball with some draw. and probably try to do this. Draw it over to the side rail, and then back out towards the center of the table for position on the 6. All right, there I am elevating a little bit. Yeah, just like that. Good speed. I realized I didn't almost drew the line exactly where I wanted my cue ball to land. Probably just another draw shot here and play the 8 into the same pocket. And then just here, probably just stun over into the side rail and back out. Probably a little bit of right spin as well. And then just a stop shot. And see, that doesn't look right. 7, 8, 9, 10. I think that might be the score. Well, I wasn't doing the greatest of jobs on breaking, in my opinion, if I continuously keep crossing the rack when I'm actually trying to hit the 1 ball square. But I am getting fortunate that I'm making a ball on the break, and I'm getting a shot at the 1 ball, so that's a little bit lucky. Wait a minute. Okay, so that must have gone off the 8. I was actually wondering if I fouled, but looking at the position of the 8 ball, no, the 1 ball goes off of the 8. Oh, yeah, so look at the prep. Look at the prep that I'm doing. This is my target, right? Because how many of y'all would try to do this out of curiosity? How many of y'all would try to do something like this and play the 3 ball over here? And it's not, I'm not asking for the sake of like you're doing something wrong, because we all play differently. Again, I don't think there's really a right or wrong decision here, unless of course you just roll the ball in and try to leave the cue ball somewhere up here to where you have a really difficult shot. I'm just curious, like, who would try to do something like this versus me. I'm prepping to see if I can actually find this line to where I'm going to control the cue ball to come back and hit the rail like this in order to get position on the 3. How many of y'all would try to actually get position over here for the 3 ball? See? And the moment I touch that rail, I'm going to be guaranteed a shot. So again, I can just kind of let my stroke out a little bit. This is probably just a top spin shot, rolling cue ball, get on the other side of the 4 ball. I don't think side spin was needed on that one. And that looks like top left. So I'm gonna kill the rebound angle off of the rail here. So let's look at that again. When we look at this shot, here's where the ball's gonna go, and here's where the cue ball naturally wants to go, right? The 90-degree tangent line. This may not be drawn to scale, but I think we get the point. So therefore, if I were to not do anything and just follow the tangent line, there's a possibility that I'll run into the 5 ball. If I wanted to, maybe I can embrace this line and have it go around the 5 like this. That's certainly an option. But instead, what I did was, with the top left spin, I tried to make sure that I forced my cue ball to go along the tangent line and come up here. And instead of going this way, which is still natural, the left spin breaks the angle and allows it to come up more like this. So I hope that makes sense as to why I did that. I'll actually leave the lines up so we can see how the cue ball travels. See that? Look at the angle that the cue ball came into the rail, and if you reflect that, this is the line that it should have traveled, but because of my spin, it travels up this line instead. And just gently roll the ball in there. This time I don't want to run into this lady like I almost did like I almost did earlier, so I'm just patiently waiting. There were over, if I remember correctly, there were over 300 tables at the Westgate Hotel, because there was this hall that I was in where they had a bunch of mini tournaments happening. Then there was another hall that just had just tables galore. Tables were everywhere in this place. All right, let's speed this up. I didn't realize I was waiting that long. Elevated stun shot here. Probably play the 9-ball into the same corner. And the score is off again. Between my score, my opponent's score, and the dead balls, they should always add up to some increment of 10. And so I'm not doing the greatest of jobs keeping score while I'm trying to commentate and draw on the video at the same time. So if I had to guess, I'm probably sitting at this, because now it adds up to, what is that, 70, 80? And so what, do I only need one more ball since we're going to 66? If I make a ball on the break, I win? Five ball drops, and there we go. So I was able to win. I'm not entirely sure if it was 14, let alone if it was in 7 innings, because y'all already saw that I got the scores wrong. But I was able to at least win by getting my 66 points. So at least in this demonstration here, I hope the things that I talked about made sense, because you're more than likely going to see the same type of strategies in the next match and in the next match after that. And so when it comes to, for me, when it comes to playing rotational games, whether it's 9-ball or 10-ball, I'm a little bit more loose with my cue ball, as I usually will try to flow into the shot line of the next shot. But when I'm playing 8-ball, you don't see that as often, because of the way we can build patterns in 8-ball to where our cue ball movement is smaller, because we have more options that we can actually choose as we're transitioning from one ball to the other. But when it comes to 9-ball, there's only one pattern. 1-ball to the 2-ball to the 3-ball to the 4-ball, etc., etc., etc. So how you get into those, how do you transition from those balls, from each ball, is clearly going to be important, which is why when I talked about on that one shot going from the 4-ball to the 5-ball, because I labeled the 5-ball the key transition, if I hit that key transition, then more than likely I might be able to run the rack. I just think it happens to be funny that on that rack that I talked about, I didn't run the rack. Corner 4 Billiards, my buddy Bryant, thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat. I really do appreciate it. I don't know if anybody saw on my Facebook page, I actually went up to the Dallas-Fort Worth area to help Corner 4 Billiards with his junior clinic that he runs once a month. It was such a blast to be up there and work with the kids. And the kids that came to the clinic, such a natural talents, such potential that these kids are going to have. Bryant, you can be sure that I'm going to be coming down there again. I just don't know if it's going to be this month, but certainly maybe in the next month or upcoming months, I will be coming back down there to help you out again. All right, so there is the first match. Let's switch back to this. Hi. And I'm open to take any questions. Loping CSF, thank you so much for stopping by. There's going to be 2 more matches for you to watch when you get back. So I'm going to get the next match queued up. Right, we consider this to be a small break for me to be able to answer any questions. if there are any. And I can already tell y'all right now with the next match, I started streaming after the lag was over, so we're not going to see the lag on the next match. Robert Allison, how am I liking my new JFlowers Cues so far? I talked about this, I think during the last live stream, and let alone when I was when I announced the sponsorship. The cue that I'm using in my garage, which is the 2021, the JF 2021, I think. Let me look. You would think I should know this stuff off the top of my head, but I don't. So I'm looking it up right now. Yes, it's the JF 2021. That is the cue that I'm using in my garage. That cue has a 12.9 millimeter shaft on it, and it has the Taom Fusion tip on it. So if you remember, I talked about the Taom Fusion tip that I have on my 12.4 Revo. I wasn't too particularly fond of it because it was just a harder hit than I would prefer. Because every time I went to my Black 4.5, which had the House soft tip on it, I just liked it so much better. So when I initially was preparing to get these cues, I wanted to have the Taom Fusion still on one of them, and I wanted to have a Taom Pro Soft on another, so that way I can compare them. Because on my actual playing cue that I take outside, that one has a Taom soft tip on it. Both of them 12.9 millimeter shafts. What I can say about the Taom Fusion on a 12.9 carbon fiber shaft is it feels a lot better than on a 12.4. You're going to see me use it more often when I do another live stream of straight pull or just the next video that I happen to do in my garage where I showcase using that cue. So that cue that I've been using in my garage feels great to me, especially under this the specs that I'm using. My playing cue, which is very similar, it's just that the butt of the cue is different, but with the Taom Pro Soft feels wonderful to me as well. Because I'm not going to sit there and just say like, well, because it's my sponsor cue or because it's Taom Pro Soft that it feels wonderful and those are my sponsors. The thing is that before when I first switched over to carbon fiber, the Revo came with a Victory soft tip. And I did nothing but praise that tip, and I still continue to praise that tip. But then as the tip started wearing down, I eventually changed the Victory soft tip to a House soft tip. And I did nothing but praise that tip as well. And then now with the Taom Pro soft tip, I've got nothing but praises for that one. So that's 3 different types of tips, or 4 if you want to include the Taom Fusion now. But as far as soft tips are concerned, 3 different types of soft tips that I've used so far since I've been on social media, no less, that I can talk about, that I am not going to weigh one over the other. I think so far to me, they've all played equally great as far as I'm concerned. I cannot tell one being better over the other based on my preference. I do know that whenever I go pick up any of my older cues that still have medium tips on them, I don't prefer the hit, like at all. Like I can clearly use it. I don't have an issue with it. I just don't prefer the way the hit feels in my hand. And I don't prefer the way the tip sounds when I actually strike the cue ball. But again, that's just my personal preference. So I hope that helps. Jessica Marie, you want to know how long I've been playing pool? Well, I am 42 years old, fixing to be 43, and I started when I was 17, or I started playing seriously when I was 17. So that's what, 25 years? 25 years going on 26? Quite a long time. I did have some breaks in between there, though, because there was a point in time where I actually quit playing pool because I was more focused on college. So at least for a good 6 to 8 years, I only played whenever the semester break, during the semester breaks, because when I first started going to college, I tried to play pool as much as I normally do, but then I found that my grades were suffering when I do so because I was spending more time playing pool than I was studying. So when I saw that happened, and my father raised me to be a good grade person, so I never really liked making not so good grades. Anything less than an A. Whenever the semester was in session, I wouldn't play pool at all. Wouldn't go to the pool. My roommate that I had at the time when I was going to college, he'd be like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to the pool. You want to hit some?" And I'm like, "I gotta study. Can't do it." Right? But whenever the semester was over, I'm in the pool hall, like instantly. But during that time frame, I noticed that a lot of players in my area that I was better than, they became better than me, since they were still actively playing way much more than I was. And then it's only up until now, we're not entirely sure, who's where and what. All I know is that I've gotten so much better now since I've had more time to dedicate to practicing now that I'm graduated. Let's see here. What is this? That is the one that's not available anymore, but you love the look. Are you talking about the 2021? The JFlower, the JF 2021? Is that what you're referring to, Robert? Because, at least according to their website, it looks like it's available, unless the website is lying to me. I'm looking at it right now. I don't see out of stock. So I'm not entirely sure what to tell you about that one. Hector, so both Predator and JFlowers feel the same to you as far as the way they hit. Are you playing with their shaft as well? Yes. When I made the switch, it's a full switch. So whatever carbon fiber shaft comes with JFlowers Cues, that's what I'm using. I mean, clearly I could probably use whatever shaft that I want. But what's the right word I'm looking for? I mean, like, for example, I would basically consider myself an honorable type of person. So like, I'm not obligated to use Taom products, even though I'm sponsored by them. But I use them because I'm sponsored by them. Like, I don't have to use their tips, but I do. I wanted to try them out. I wanted to see if I like them, and I do. And so when it comes to a Q sponsorship, that would be the thing, to where I would make sure that I would just specifically use their equipment. I wouldn't want to mix equipment up and make it look like that I'm strictly using their stuff, because to me that's disingenuous. That's lying. I wouldn't want to do that. Let's see here. What else is out there? What is this? I like this. Chris Schneider, you're saying, when you're struggling or feel you're not playing your beat, what is your approach to bouncing back? If I understand your question correctly, you're basically saying, well, what do you do when you're playing in a slump? The only thing that I know that works for me, you look at the way that you just watched me play in a match, and of course I was playing rather well, and I think some people would probably say maybe I play slow, and that's fine. I don't care if someone categorizes me as a slow player, because they're categorizing me from the seat while I'm running the table, so I don't care. But if I find myself not playing my best, I see your correction there. If I find myself not playing my best, then as meticulous as I am about going through my pre-shot routine, when I'm not playing to my potential, I play more meticulous. I'm much more meticulous about my pre-shot routine, which means I start to play slower. Because I can't take the time to figure out, especially during a match, what the heck am I doing wrong besides missing? Because I'm in my match. I have to figure out how to quickly recover. And in my experience, the only thing that has helped me recover quicker is to play slower. Not to throw off my opponent. That is not the purpose, though that happens to be an after effect. It's for me to make sure I'm going through each step of my pre-shot routine, that I'm doing the same things over and over again. And then I start to notice that I'm starting to make balls. I'm starting to transition to the next ball better, because then my pace starts to pick back up again after that. So all I can say is really, it's the simple term of going back to the drawing board and, you know, using what works best. This is how I know how to maybe explain it to you, because this is basically what I tell my my APA teammates. That is, when I'm teaching them initially, like my skill level 3s or my skill level 2s and 3s and 4s, I teach them to just be center cue ball hitters. They might hit slightly above center, so that way they're always using a rolling cue ball. And I have them hit softly, like very softly actually, to where they kind of just tap the cue ball around, because their responsibility is not only to just make the ball that they're trying to make, but they have to know how to accurately predict where the cue ball is going to land just from a tap shot. And then as they get better at doing that, then I start telling them to start recognizing, oh, since I know the cue ball is going to move this far, when I tap the cue ball, I can recognize that the cue ball is not moving far enough. So therefore, I probably should tap a little bit harder, so that way the cue ball moves a little bit farther. So they start getting to a point to where they start trying to play better position. But the first thing they start to notice when they continuously try to play position, they're missing the current shot more often. And so that's when I tell them, look, you're trying to play position. This is great, but we're missing the shots now. We need to go back. Go back to just strictly making the shot and not actually trying to play better position, just rely on natural position. So that's what I'm referring to. In my case, I don't do that. I still obviously try to play position, because I'm not at a point where I have to just go back to relying on the natural role of the position. But in my case, I start performing my pre-shot routine slower, because I'm more meticulous when I'm performing my pre-shot routine when I actually shoot. And that is when I'm actually in a slump. So I hope that makes sense. Okay. Well, I can't sit here and answer questions over and over again, though I would love to, because the whole point of this live stream is to review these matches. So let's go ahead and move over to match number 2. And here we are. So as I mentioned before, this opponent here is another skill level 7. And you can see he's about to break. So as I told you before, I started live streaming after the lag. And actually, I think I started live streaming after the lag because the first stream that I did start crashed. So I pretty much had to walk over to my phone real quick and just restart everything. And this is where we picked up to where my opponent is about to break for the first rack. That's a decent break. Nice cut break, but it doesn't look like my opponent has shape on the 1 ball since the 5 ball blocks it. He did at least make a ball. It looks like he can at least see the 1 ball, so I'd only be curious if he's going to attempt to play some sort of safety. Well, I don't think he tried to play safe. I think he tried to make the ball. Right? So, I mean, look at the table. Do you think I'm going to try to do anything? No, I'm going to try to play safe. So let's look at this, because I see this as a hard issue for, I probably want to say mostly for skill level 4s and below, maybe some skill level 5s, maybe. And that is breaking the mentality of you have to make a ball every single solitary time you come to the table. I mean, anybody in the chat suffer from this? Like every time you come to the table, do you actually feel like you have to make a shot? You have to make a ball every single solitary time. I seem to see that that notion is very common for skill level 4s and below, and like I said, I think sometimes skill level 5s. are like that as well. Right, and those that are saying nope, I would imagine that you're not. What is your skill level, Robert Allison and Chris Schneider? Are y'all above the threshold that I'm talking about? Because I think y'all would know better. Right? Because this from Craig is absolutely true. You don't always have to make a ball. I would probably venture to say that it's not about making a ball. It's about keeping control of the table. Now, you can say you can keep control of the table if you make a ball, right? Because your opponent's not coming to the table. So that's clearly an argument. But you can also keep control of the table when you're away from the table, which is what a safety does for you. Because I can attempt, what can I attempt here? I can attempt to shoot the 1 off the 4, maybe have it go here into the corner pocket. I can probably try to do a 1-7 combination. I mean, I can probably try to maybe bank the 1 ball down here. Like there are options that I can try to come up with to where I can try to make the 1 ball. All of these options, in my opinion, even for me, would be considerably low percent of success. Whereas playing this safety, high level chance of success. If I were to take any of those 3 options that I think I could have had with making the ball and this safety here, I would ask myself, of the 4 options that I laid out, which one could I do more times successfully than unsuccessfully? That's going to be this safety here. And that's why I end up choosing the safety. And then you pretty much weigh it like that on every single solitary shot when it comes to like a shot selection. If you actually have 2 options to shoot a ball, which one are you more likely going to be able to make? That's more likely the one that you're going to choose. Well, when it comes to choosing between doing a safety and actually performing a shot, I think the same type of calculation, determination, or whatever word you want to use to decide which one do you want to do. Do you want to play safe or do you want to try to make a ball? Not only do you want to try to make a ball, do you want to try to make a ball and get position on the next ball? How hard is it to do that? Because it might be easy to make the ball, but it also might be difficult to transition to the next ball. So I hope that makes sense. Like you got to know that every time you come to the table, you don't always have to make a ball. Now, if my opponent kicks out of this, makes a legal hit, and blocks me at the end, like, you know, accidentally plays safe on me, or makes the shot, I mean, okay, fine. It sucks. Like my safety didn't work, but I didn't accidentally give my opponent an opportunity to directly shoot the 1 ball into a pocket. I'm making him earn this as much as I can. What's my opponent doing? Oh, look at that. He wanted to block the 1 ball. He tried to push the 7 ball in the way of the 1 ball. Let's see. What am I doing here? Drawing the cue ball back for position on the 2, most likely, or stunning, not necessarily drawing. Doesn't look like I stunned the cue ball enough. It looks like the cue ball is probably going to follow to the side rail and back out for position on the 3 into the same corner pocket. Just like so. Maybe just roll forward for the 4 on the side. Yeah, there I am checking the 4 ball shot line. Oh, I got draw on the ball. Where am I drawing the ball? Oh, I stunned over for the 4 on the side. Or if I had stunned over far enough, I could play the 4 in the corner. But it looks like I'm going to play the 4 on the side. Am I rolling forward for the 5 in the bottom right, or stunning over for the 5 in the bottom left? Stunning over for the 5 in the bottom left. here's where I'll end up pushing forward to this rail here and coming back for the 6. This is probably done with probably some top left. Oh, I remember this. This is a fun shot. Y'all just saw me do something very similar in the other match when it comes to transitioning my cue ball. I think it's this. That's always very pretty to watch. So that looked like it was just a draw shot to pull the cue ball back. And then I was able to take that rack. Okay, pretty much the same break that I was trying to use. Let's see if I cross the rack this time. No, I didn't cross the rack that time. Almost made the 9 on the break, but I do manage to drop the 7, and it doesn't look like I have a shot at the 1. So more than likely, this is going to be some sort of safety. I just can't tell what it is. Am I going to put the 1 ball on the other side of the 3? Well, that's what I tried. Yep. Just a rolling cue ball to play that position. So he should be able to hit this. It's not like I played too good of a safety, but you know, if he kicks it in, you know, he gets to still stay at the table. But remember what I was talking about before. I'm allowing my opponent to come back to the table under my condition. Now, if he gets out of my condition, then, you know, he's earned the right to be still at the table because, look, it looks like he made a ball. And it looks like he got a little lucky with that safety there because that looked like a double kiss type of hit, and then the cue ball went the route that it went. So all I have is a 1 rail kick this way. Do I get lucky? Oh, I almost got lucky. Oh, he decided to go to the corner. Why? Well, I guess maybe the ball couldn't go into the side. I think the camera angle makes it look like it can go into the side. But he decides to go into the corner. Now, I'm unable to tell what kind of angle I have on this 1 ball, and it must be something since I'm contemplating what I'm supposed to do, meaning that I'm not on the good side of the 1 ball to just hold the cue ball for position on the 3. So that's top spin. Am I going to go to the head rail and back up? So, Robert Allison, this should answer your question. Why not go 1 rail? Look how hard I have to hit this ball. I know it's a completely different scenario, but look how hard I have to hit this ball to transition for that 1 rail to get position back on the 3. And I misjudged the hit because I roll a little too far. I have position on the 3, but I think I would want to be right here more than likely. But sometimes, depending upon the scenario that you're in, like you just have to settle with what you can do. In that case, I was forced to use 1 rail. This is probably going to be a stun shot over to the side rail. And knowing me, I'm probably going to spin this 2 rails out of the corner. Oh, never mind. It was just 1 because I was underneath I was on the other side of the shot line. Never mind. So that was more like this. And am I drawing this into position? Yep. And then here's where the toss-up, I think, comes into play. Do I try to do this? Or do I try to do this? Which one would y'all do in this position here? Which one would y'all do versus which one do you think I'm going to do? Because I'm pretty sure I do this one. Right? Because the other one is harder to do. You can do it, but it's harder to do. That, what I just did there, in my opinion, is just much easier to do. Much, much easier to do. Like I said, they are options. You can clearly do it that way. That's why I wanted to illustrate, like, what do we do here? Do we use one rail or do we use two rails? You'll find that the 2-rail route is easier to do because the cue ball 1 naturally already goes in that direction. So why force it to go in a direction that it doesn't naturally want to go? Because if you do, you have to hit it harder in order to make that happen. Or you can try to embrace where it's going to go and help it go farther. Yeah, pop break. I'm pop breaking on 9-ball. I don't intentionally mean to pop break in 9-ball there. But considering that we're using a regular rack here, I do break much harder than I would if we were using a template rack. So in this position here, I've got a pretty good commanding lead, so I decide to be aggressive here. I do remember this shot. I'm going to try to bank the 1-ball into the 6-ball. Just wasn't really expecting my cue ball to be all the way up here like this. So I think we can say that I hit the ball too hard, and then now I'm trying a swerve shot or masse. I'm going to try to masse around the 1-ball to make my 3-ball. And I don't masse it enough. I must have miscued. If I did that, y'all saw me clean the ball off for my opponent. So look at this table. Like, I don't know if my opponent thinks about this stuff or not, but I'd be curious to know how many of y'all think about this stuff or not. What can you do here in this scenario? You have ball in hand. You can clearly make the 1-ball. I think you can clearly make the 2-ball, and I think you can clearly make the 3-ball, and you can clearly make the 4-ball. What are you going to do with the 7? Are you going to attempt to set up for a 7-8 combination or a 7-9 combination? I don't know how many players think that far ahead, because regardless of which one you do, that's going to dictate how you get position on the 4-ball, so that way you can play position from the 4-ball to that decision. Do you want to play the 7-8 combination? Well, that means you want your cue ball somewhere over here. So if you want your cue ball somewhere over here, that means you're going to want to be flat on the 3-ball, so that way you can stay flat on the 4-ball and just draw back. Do you want to play the 7-9 combination? Well, that means you want your cue ball over here. So don't you think you're going to want some sort of angle on your 4-ball, so that way you can use the side rail and try to pull it back over this way? And of course, don't forget about the potential banks. But where are you going to bank? Are you going to bank over here, or are you going to bank over here? All of that is going to determine how you play from the 3 to the 4, so that way playing from the 4 to the 7 to whatever decision you make, hopefully possible to actually successfully execute. Let's see what my opponent decides to do. He just gently rolls the 1 in. You can see the cue ball didn't land where he wanted to, but he's still going to play the 2 in the side. He just wanted the cue ball to be a little bit closer. This more likely is going to leave him with some sort of an angle on the 3 ball. He manages to kind of draw it back a little bit. But do you see what I mean, though? He's got this angle on the 3 ball, so is he just going to roll this in and take an angle on the 4? Which means he probably will be setting up for the 7-9 combination. Right? He does decide to roll it in, so there's the angle. Shane McDonald, thank you so much for subscribing to my YouTube channel. Really do appreciate you joining the club, helping me get to that 100,000 subscribers. I need to mention that when this match is over. So let's see if he sets up for the 4-9, or I'm sorry, the 7-9 combination here. You see, that's what he was trying to do. I would only wonder, did he have that already in mind before he even shot the 1 ball? Or did it end up developing into that, considering we saw he didn't exactly get the position he wanted going from the 1 to the 2. He had position, but we saw that he indicated he didn't get the exact position that he wanted. So if you find yourself doing exactly what I'm talking about here, where you don't know or you don't really have a plan on what you're going to do with that 7 ball before you even start, I would seriously suggest that you start thinking about that before you start shooting, instead of trying to figure it out on the fly. I think you'll find out that it'll be more beneficial to have a plan ahead of time, and so that way all you're trying to focus on after that is executing the plan. All right, what the heck am I doing here? Am I just going to set up for the bank? All right. Let's look at that again. Look where I'm at. Look what my opportunity is. I can clearly make the 4 ball. Do I want to attempt to elevate my cue, dig down into the cue ball with what, bottom left? It looks like it would have to be, in order to have a chance of doing something like this. Like, do I really want to try to risk that? Especially since I'm going to be elevated, which means I'm going to possibly masse the cue ball, right? No, not going to attempt to do that. I'm going to go ahead and take the point, take the natural position that I know that I can get. I'll try to control the cue ball a little bit. But I know this before I even shoot. I'm going to set up for some sort of bank shot. So that's why all I do is just roll the ball. And I'm set up to bank on this side, so that way hopefully I can just do some sort of stop shot and hold position for the 8. Definitely got to highlight that, Bree. Oh, and then see there? This is the joys of watching a live stream. My phone must have lagged. Look at this. It's a glitch in the matrix. How did we go from here to here? Right? But we can see I barely missed the ball. I have shape, and I have shape on the 8 ball. This is actually a good question, Trevor. I'm assuming you're asking, would I set up for the bank shot if I was down 5-20 instead of being up 20-5? Well, considering that there are no balls to hide behind, I think the decision would remain the same. But what I can say, and that was a great shot by Mosconi. Now you see him using his rails as well to get position on the 8. I think I can say, though, that if I was down 20-5, I would be playing a whole lot safer. Like, I wouldn't be going for like big transitional shots or anything of the sorts. I do tend to play more conservative when I'm down, but that's only to an extent, right? Because if I'm playing conservatively because I'm down and I'm not catching up, at some point in time, that mode has to switch. Right? Because clearly my plan's not working, so I have to switch back into aggressive mode and start trying to just grab points whenever possible, because otherwise I'm gonna end up losing the game. But in general, I would think if we take that same scenario, and if I was down 5-20, I would end up still making the same decision. I would try to set up for the bank shot and attempt to bank the ball in that particular scenario. That's a good break. Holy crap, but my opponent doesn't get awarded again. All right, I think we saw in the first break, my opponent wasn't rewarded for his break because he didn't have a shot on the 1 ball. Now he doesn't have a shot at the 2 ball. And the one thing I will say that sucks about the APA 9 ball, no rollouts. You have to go for the lowest number ball after the break, which means you potentially are giving up ball in hand. My opponent makes a good hit here. And what am I going to do? Am I more than likely going to play safe? Try to tuck the cue ball behind the 3? Yep. That is correct, Robert Allison. There is no rollouts in APA 9 ball after the break. You have to play it, whether you're the incoming opponent because you broke dry or because you made a ball on the break. You have to just make a attempt at the lowest ball on the table, risking ball in hand, considering that you can't see it. Good hit. And it looks like I don't have any choice but to attempt to do a 2-9 combination. Oh, but I missed. So not much for my opponent to be able to do here. I'd be curious if he's going to try to play safe and tuck the cue ball over by the 7 and the 9 and leave the 2 ball below the 6 ball. Or attempt to billiard in the 7 ball. That was actually a pretty good shot to try. But this is the risk that you run. Like, if you're unsuccessful, look at the layout of the table that you give me. Okay, 2 balls successfully taken down. Looks like that was just a rolling cue ball going naturally from the 2 to the 3. Looks like we might have a 6-7 combination coming up. I hit that one too soft. I didn't try to soft roll it in. I actually wanted the cue ball to go 1, 2, and 3, and then back over. So this is now much harder than it needed to be. And end up missing the shot. Okay, that worked out. I don't think that was the intentional bank. Seems like my opponent would have won a bank the 5 ball over here, but that works. 6-7 combination? Or 6-7 billiard? Another bank shot, maybe? Oh, we try to cut the ball all the way down. So look at the position I'm in. I go ahead and try to make this. I do remember this. I think a potential safety option would be to cross bank the 6-ball somewhere towards the end rail here and have my cue ball hit the end or the head rail and bounce back up. But I think I tried to make it. Elevated cue on the cue ball. No side spin whenever I do this. Just a center ball hit. Oh, it looks like I tried to pop the heck out of it too. I must have been maybe trying to get position on the 8-ball if I did that. So here's another 2-railer situation to go from the 6 to the 8. In that case, it looks like it had to be 3 rails. So even though the pixelation shows that I probably, you can't be able to see the shot, but I do have a shot at the 6-ball to get position on the 8-ball here. And then more than likely switch the spin over here. That way I can get position on the 9. And once again, I'm behind on points. Somebody's missing a point. I'm going to venture that it's me. I think I've been accurately marking my opponent's points. There is one, I distinctly remember this match, and there's one shot in this match that I'm actually quite proud of. I'm waiting for it to pop up. Matter of fact, this this might be it. This might be the shot. There. What does I think this is the shot. What does everybody think I might do here, or what would y'all do here in this position? In my position, you're up 20. You're up 29 to 13, and this is the shot that that you're left with after the break. What do you do? Garrett Williams, you want to know, do I think it makes regular guys nervous to play me because I play because I'm pretty well known? I could certainly say that might be a consideration. I do know that when it comes to myself, I know I can be like that. Like when I go play in the Texas State Open, and I know that I'm playing up against someone that I know is better than me. That I can kind of come into the match with a defeated mentality. But lately, or not lately, but you know, I think it was years ago, I started realizing that, you know what, I would rather lose playing my best than lose because I played scared. If that makes sense. So let's consider that if my previous opponent or even this opponent is nervous playing me because of who I am. If I was anybody else, would they be nervous? I don't know. But let's just say that they are, because that would be my advice. Right? When you know that you're playing up against somebody, when you know you're playing up against somebody better than you, you know that you run the risk of every time you make a mistake, you potentially lose the rack, and that risk becomes overwhelming for you. Well, clearly, what I'm saying right now is easier said than done. Right? All I can say is that I can acknowledge being in those situations and still know that I'm going to attempt to play as best as I possibly can. So that way I know that I was just truly defeated by a better player, and not because I was playing scared. So I hope that makes sense, Garrett. It's certainly a possibility. But now back to this. Let's see. Bree thinks I'm going to kick the one into the corner. Hector Montalvo says I'm going to play safe behind the stack. Sensei Nate says 3 rails on either side of the 1 ball and hide the cue ball behind the 8 and the 2. Chris Snyder 1-3 bank combo. Play Old Man Ferguson play a double kiss, so he wants me to just tap the 1 ball into the rail and have it come back and hit the cue ball again and leave it right here. All kinds of different stuff. Watch this. Oh, golly, that is sick. That is sick. You can see even my opponent is smiling at it. Now here's a good question though, because I think this is up for debate. Who says I got lucky? Is this a lucky safety or is this a skillful safety? I'd be curious to know, where does everybody draw the line between luck and skill? I would at least venture to say that there's a little bit of luck in here. I would say there's a little bit of luck. Why do I say there's a little bit of luck? Because how many times do I think I can actually nail this like this? The skill part, I can say that the skill part is getting the cue ball back there. Like, I know the cue ball is going back there, right? So that's the skill part. But landing exactly like this every single solitary time, in my opinion, I think for me, maybe for others, they could just say it's completely skill. But I would probably say this is probably more like maybe 85 to 90% skill, and the rest of it is luck. But clearly it worked, right? That was the intention, was for me to be able to get ball in hand after that safety. I like this. Doesn't have to be Fort Knox, it just has to do the job. Doesn't have to be locked down, it just has to be safe. I like it. Right, how many of y'all do that? Look at this. How many of y'all do this? Like, you know, the moment you hit the cue ball, you know you did something wrong. Because that's what I'm doing. I know I hit the cue ball too hard in that instant. How many of y'all know your stroke so well that you know when you hit the ball? Like, you know you make the ball. Like, that's not the issue. It's just you know your transition to the next ball is not going to be right. Oh, look at that. I must have gotten really flat on that ball to have to play bottom spin like that. Am I just rolling it from here? Nope, I tried to stun it pretty darn hard and didn't stun it hard enough. So once again, sorry for the pixelations. It does happen quite often here. I think I actually put a little bit of right spin on this. How many of y'all would do this? If you're me in this position, you're up 35 to 13. How many of y'all would attempt to do this? Right? Because of all the shots that I had during this set, like, this would be the one that I wanted to capture on camera, which would be able to kick the 9 in, being in the position that I was in. And this is exactly right, because there are players that would play safe. And there's certainly nothing wrong with that option. I think under normal circumstances, I would, if this wasn't APA, right, I would probably end up trying to play safe on the 9. Like I would have to know whether or not how well have I been kicking during the set, and clearly there hasn't been a whole lot of kicks during the set. But if it was the 9 ball was to win a rack, I would more than likely probably play safe. Now, if we're playing like regular 9 ball wins the rack, and I'm up in the race, that's different. Look at this. My heart actually dropped when I saw this happen to my opponent. Look at this break my opponent gets. Look at that. That is sick. 4 balls on the break plus the cue ball. So what do I end up doing here? 1 on the side, follow forward for the 3 ball. Five ball sitting down here. Bottom left spin. We're going to take ball in hand and shoot a 1-9 combo. What is wrong with you? Oh, I didn't realize that. And if y'all want to know how well these new diamond tables are that APA decided to switch to, look at that. I absolutely love it when the cue ball does this. You see how it kind of hesitates before it actually draws back? Like it's sitting there spinning in place before the friction can finally grab the cloth and actually pull the cue ball back. Oh yeah, I remember that. Like look at this. I don't know if this becomes a defeated mentality, but look, I'm behind the 9 ball and my opponent decided to give me the 9 ball. Because you can even see here when I stand up and look at him. Like that right there. And he's saying I don't have to shoot it. I was thoroughly surprised at this because if my opponent is shooting this, I'm making them shoot this. Since I didn't actually get on the good side of the shot line, I actually crossed over, but my opponent was nice enough to give it to me on that one. Don't know why. Garrett, I believe all of these were Simonis. I think that's typically what comes on diamond tables. Typically, I think. I don't even know what the heck I was doing. Why did I run back over there? So we definitely must be trying to make sure that we've got the scores correct. All right, here we go. There we go. That was a nice square hit. I think I made a ball 3, 6, 7, 8. I got position on the 1 ball. That's always a good thing. All right, look at this. How many of y'all do this? All right, I made a ball. I go and grab my shooting cue. I've got position on the one ball. I see the two and go, okay, I'm going to do this. And I say, wait a minute. Let me come over here and verify what is my next shot actually going to look like? Is that three ball going to get in the way if I attempt to play this type of position? How many of y'all do this? Or do y'all just get down and shoot? How many of y'all actually check to see what your next shot is going to look like if your cue ball control does exactly what you want it to do? Right? Because how many of y'all have just played a shot, you got the position that you thought you wanted, but then when you go over there, you realize, crap, you can't shoot. Like a ball is actually in your way, or you're not able to move to the next shot like you thought you were. From time to time, that is a very important move that you should actually do when you're shooting. Look and see what your next shot is going to look like if you hit the transition that you're wanting to hit. Now there, I can probably venture to say that I might have gotten a little lucky and got a love tap from the 8-ball there. I think I'm going to try to just stun over for the 6-ball. Pretty sure I do just a 1 railer from the 6 to the 7 going on the right side of the 9-ball. Almost got hooked behind the 9-ball. I think here I'm coming down to the head rail and just spinning over. Probably just stunning over to the other side. Actually, we go right about here, so that way we can see the. I think the cue ball might move a little bit more. Who is doing this? Who does this versus who does this, or even this? Maybe. I think there's 3 different ways to get here. I think there's 3 different ways to get over here, and I'd just be curious to know who does what. And I honestly don't remember which one I did. See right there, I think my initial reaction was to draw the ball, was to stun the ball over there, and then I hesitated. So do I still draw it over there, or do I roll over there? Oh, I cheated the pocket. Never mind. I didn't realize I was that flat to where I can actually cheat the pocket. Never mind. Is this right? This isn't right. I think I'm here. So my mistake. The camera parallax adds that additional angle that I didn't know was there. I was able to make the 8. I would have to say that I'm getting rather fortunate with these breaks here. I mean, I'm making a ball on the break. I'm getting position on the 1 ball, or I'm having position on the lowest ball on the table. And I think I overrolled that just a bit. Oh, did y'all see that? So let's actually go back a little bit. Because look at this here. What am I doing over here? All right, I know I can shoot the 1 ball and I can shoot the 2 ball, and then I have the 3 ball, and then here I am trying to figure out what the heck am I going to do with the 4 ball? Because it's not like I want to, or I have an option to try to shoot the 3 ball and then try to break out the 4 at the same time, or when we go on back to this area here, look what I'm doing. I figured, well, I might as well go ahead. So the more I think about this, I think this was on purpose. I gave myself a sharp cut angle, a sharper cut angle, so I can play it here into the corner pocket and then try to get my cue ball to do something like this and break this up. And if I can break this up, there's the 3-ball right there to still go into the side pocket. Planning ahead, planning ahead. Even with the slight masse that I accidentally drew. Let's see if the cue ball actually curves its way up there, since I can't draw a straight line. See that? And then what do? I check to see, does that 4-ball pass the 6 before I get down and actually shoot the 3. So if it does, I'm clearly going to shoot it. If not, I'm going to tuck the cue ball behind the 6. I like, who does this? I don't know. It's always funny to watch. You see, I feel like I'm steering the cue ball, knowing full well this doesn't do jack diddly squat. Do you see how I kind of like scrunch myself, and it's like I start motioning the cue over in the direction that I want the cue ball to do? Exactly, right? You lean with it. Who does this? Because I know I can't be the only one. And it's a terrible habit. I shouldn't be doing that at all. It's a terrible habit. All right, what the heck am I doing with this 5-ball? Ooh. I don't remember that. That's this. So that worked out. 2 rails out for position. And then what is this? Just a rolling cue ball? Oh no, that had to have had some left spin, because otherwise I'm running into that 9-ball. And what do y'all think? Did I hit it too hard, or did I not hit it hard enough? Why did I punch the table? Did I punch the table because I hit the cue ball too hard and I no longer can shoot the 7-ball down here, or did I not hit it hard enough because I was trying to shoot it into the side pocket? Yeah, I would probably venture to say that I didn't hit it hard enough, and I wanted to get position on the side pocket. Look at that, and I end up overcutting the ball. There's another nice multi-rail position. Those are always so pretty to watch when you just sit there and watch your cue ball flare around the rails like that. There we go. Let's see, is that right? No, somebody's missing a point. And look at that. Remember what my opponent did on the last break? And then this happens again? You hate to see it. Well, maybe you don't if you have the winning mentality, because you're like, hey, I got ball in hand. What am I doing here? Oh, I'm trying to get on this side of the two ball, and I hit that poorly. That must have been done like this. I actually hit that kind of poorly. I would think I would want my cue ball to be somewhere up here. Okay, that worked out nicely. How am I going to transition from the 4 ball to the 5 ball? I mean, clearly I'm going to run into the 6. Do I just run into the 6 and take the bank? Oh. I honestly don't remember that. That's this. And then, of course, the video's got to get pixelated when this happens. Look at that. Holy cow. That's definitely got to be luck. I'm chalking that one up to luck. I did not think that I'd be drawing the cue ball back behind the 9 ball and still getting position on the 5. That's got to be luck. Nice little stop shot, though. That's not lucky. Now, actually, you know what? I think this is important because this is what I was talking about before. When I got here, my opponent says something, that's why I'm smiling. Look how slowly and methodically I'm trying to go through this 5 ball in order to play the stop shot. And then watch what I do with the 6. Did I take the same amount of time? I should have, though. I think everybody can relate to this. This is something I think we all do, right? The ease of the shot determines the pace of how we're actually going to shoot. And one question was, you know, what do you do when you're not shooting so well? Like, how do you pick yourself back up? And that is to meticulously make sure that you're spending the same amount of time on each and every shot, though it is very, very easy to treat easier shots as easy shots and then play them rather rapidly. And I don't remember, does that end it? Or did I have one more ball? Because I was ranting during the whole time during that run out. Okay, so that did end it there. So I think it was 66-18 in about 12 innings with about, is that right? No, that can't be right. There might, oh, he did scratch on the break again when he made a ball. So that was another dead ball there. So there we go, 66-18. I think with six dead balls in about 12 innings. So I don't think we really saw anything different from the first match in comparison to the second match in regards to the strategies of how to play. Because you can see I pretty much try to approach it the same exact way. How hard is the shot? How hard is the transition to the next ball? And is it so hard that I'm actually risking missing the shot? So therefore, do I play some sort of safety? And then I think the main thing I definitely wanted to highlight was being able to show that, you know, on an easy shot, I ended up rushing, and it's not like it hurt me at all. I mean, I was still able to finish the rack. And that's what this comment goes towards. You know, Sensei Nate Poole says he thinks it's fine if you're feeling comfortable, have a workman attitude until it turns into a flow. And at this point, it's all about confidence and rhythm. I would agree. But I do find myself more and more that I'm trying to do what I just did there less and less. Like even when I land perfectly on the next shot, I take my step back, I observe the shot, I observe where I want the cue ball to go, and try to spend the same amount of time on each and every shot. So I hope that makes sense. Let's switch back to this. We've got one more match coming up. And if y'all will actually excuse me for a second, as I get the next match queued up, I will be right back. And upon popular request. Oh, and there's the other one. Here are the animals that everybody wanted to see. As we come back. So, for those that don't know, this is Link. This is my miniature schnauzer. As he's trying to bite me, because I don't know how much of a good time he's actually having. Seriously? You're just gonna do that right there on a live stream and just lick my face. Say hi to everybody. Then, oh my goodness. Oh, no, you don't. Come here. And then there's this big honking fellow. Here's Zelda. Say hi. You see, he doesn't care. Like he doesn't even want to be in my lap. Look at this. Anybody want to know how giant this cat is? Look at this. Oh God. Like, look how big this chonker is. In comparison to Link. Everybody wanted to see you. So there we go. Now this live stream gets 1 million views because we've got a cat and a puppy sighting. Now what's really funny is if you watch, they're probably gonna take off and Zelda's gonna run and then Link's gonna chase after him. Well, that was not as dramatic as that was not as dramatic as I thought it was going to be. Just waiting to see if Link's just gonna dart right out of the camera's view. Maybe not. And he's gone. So that wasn't as dramatic as I would like it to be. Okay, so we've got one more match that we're going to review. But before we do, this can be considered just another break here. And so this is where I do want to say this, though. Because I talked about it earlier. I am currently sitting at 98,113 subscribers. And as much as work keeps me busy and I have very limited time even to do like these live streams or produce content and stuff, lately I've been producing a lot of YouTube shorts or Facebook Reels on Facebook. So that way I can try to push my subscriber count over 100,000 so that way I can finally get that YouTube Select plaque. So if you haven't done so already, please give this stream a thumbs up. It doesn't matter whether you're on Facebook or on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, consider sharing the stream to your Facebook profile so your friends and family can get to know me and possibly gain an interest in pool. And then, of course, maybe even sharing it out to any of your favorite pool groups. But if you're on YouTube, clearly like the stream so that way it helps me out in the YouTube algorithm so that way more people can discover this stream right now and come in and hang out with us like everybody else is. But then if you're not subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing to my channel as I'm really trying as much as I can to be able to get to 100,000 subscribers. And I plan on doing a big giveaway, multiple prizes to be given away when that actually happens. I don't exactly know what off the top of my head. I mean, we're talking cues, cases, maybe even some things that aren't pool related, but it's going to be a big celebration, or at least I'm going to try to make it to be a big celebration. And speaking of giveaways, yesterday I did a live stream on Facebook where I gave away a lucky McDermott cue and a lucky jump cue to one of my Facebook followers. And I had also mentioned that if you look at my last YouTube live stream, when I announced my sponsorship with JFlowers, I have a Dante JFlowers cue that I'm giving away, which, if I remember correctly, is right here. As well as this case. Because I did almost forget about this. So this is what is this? So 3x5. It's dark in here. I can't even see. Yes. I still can't even see. I do believe this is a 3x5 or it's a 3x6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's. I could be wrong. 1, 2, 3. This is a 3x5. This is a 3x5 soft case, as well as the JFlowers one. I think this is the Dante 1. It's either the Dante 1 or Dante 2. Let me look. Let's go to their playing cues. This is their Dante 1 because it has the white overlays versus the red overlays. This is I believe this is one of their limited edition cues. This is a $400 cue, and in celebration of joining the JFlowers team, I'm giving this cue away. But if you were part of the live stream where I was talking about this, I do have an option. I have to double check if that option still remains. But if y'all don't know, Earl Strickland joined Team JFlowers, and I found out that there's a bunch of these Dante cues at our factory that are autographed by Earl Strickland. And as far as I know, I'll have to double check. If you're the winner of my giveaway, when I do announce the winner, you can either receive this one, or I can try to get you one of the autographed ones by Earl Strickland, and you can get that one instead. So if you're wondering about how in the world do you actually become a winner of this cue, then you need to check out my last live stream when I actually announced my sponsorship with JFlowers, because all you have to do is like that live stream and leave a comment in the comment section below the live stream, because anybody that's familiar with my giveaways knows that I randomly pick one of the comments, and as long as I can verify that whoever's comment is selected is one of my subscribers, they'll be the winner. And how do I verify that you're one of my subscribers? Well, that means you have to have your subscription list public. Because if I pick a winner and I go to their YouTube channel and I don't see their subscription list, I'm just going to pick somebody else. Or if I go to their YouTube channel and I see their subscription list, but I'm not in it, then I'm just going to pick somebody else. So if you want a chance at winning that 3x5 soft case along with the Dante Q, and I'm pretty sure I also said that I was probably going to throw in a V10 Taom V10 chalk in there as well, be sure to go over to that live stream and follow the instructions. All right, let's see here. Whew. What next? I don't really see any questions. Because if there aren't any questions, let's go ahead and start wrapping up the stream by reviewing the next match. So let me get the next match prepared. We do have the lag on this one. Let's go ahead and switch over to this. Don't know who breaks yet, so let me remove the asterisk here. And like I said, I am playing up against another skill level 7, and this is the final. Here, like I said, it was only an 8-player tournament, so I only had to play 3 matches, quarterfinals, semifinals, and then now here we are in the finals. Let's see who's going to break first. There. I think what, on the first match and the second match, I didn't win the lag, and I finally win the lag in the finals. I managed to hit that one a little softer, wouldn't you say? This looks like this is going to be a short rack. I probably should have paid more attention to that shot there. 2-ball is going to go into the side pocket, though. You can see how much side spin I actually had on that cue ball, and this is going to be a short rack as I play this 3-9 combination. And I even made the 3-ball. So that was a nice way to start this match off. Chris Schneider, yes, the for some reason the races were shorter. I didn't really understand why, considering that it was a mini match, but they are shorter because typically I'm supposed to go to 75. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I made 2 balls on the break there. And you can see here, what we have here is what's referred to as a dirty rack, because since we do have to pay for the balls to come out of the table during the mini tournaments, since I went ahead and dropped the 9-ball early, we just take some unused stripes and create a 9-ball rack that way. Now, I'm not entirely sure what I did there. I think all I did was just score the point, knowing that I couldn't get position on the 5, and it doesn't look like I can even see the 5, considering that I made the ball. No, maybe I was able to see it since I hit it. Okay, nice shot by my opponent. Bumps into the 7 ball and was still managed to able to hold position. 11 ball should be the next ball because we got the 11 ball here. I think this is the 12, 13, and 14. So the 14 is the new 9 ball. I don't know what that was all about, but that worked. Let's look at that again. Like, man, my opponent hit the heck out of that 7 ball. Billiards into the 11 and drops it and gets position on the 12 ball. How strong is that? Now, is it just me or does my opponent play rather quickly? And he also plays rather well because he made short work of that rack. I'm not going to be able to pronounce that. Faris Channel, I hope I said that correctly. Thank you so much for subscribing to my YouTube channel. I really do appreciate it. Did he just make the 9 on the break? He did. What do we got? What is that? Or why did it just get pixelated? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 dead balls. And just like that, we're all tied up. That was quick. More dead balls, it looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. My opponent made a ball and scratched on the break. So here, you can see I'm still just doing the same thing. Like, I know I can make the 1. I know I can make the 3. I know I can make the 4. What am I going to do with the 5? So that's what I'm planning on trying to figure out right now before I even start shooting the 1 ball. I can't stress enough how important it is to do that, even if that means I know I'm going to play safe by the time I get to the 5 ball. But I already have a plan up to that point before I even shoot the 1 ball. And actually that should be an inning since my opponent scratched. So top right spin on the cue ball to get this position on the 3. Rolling cue ball to go from the 3 to the 4. Am I gonna spin behind the 9 ball? What am I gonna do here? Looks like I might be doing that. Spinning behind the 9 ball? Yep. Oh, but I spun too far. So is this a safety? That's what it is. So I could probably say at the time when I shot the 4 to the 5, I think I was trying to play position to be able to actually shoot the 5, more likely down here. But since I overrolled the ball, I call an audible and play safe instead. Once again, allowing my opponent to come back to the table under my terms. So he manages to get a good hit and he catches a rail, so therefore it's not a foul. And I think all I'm going to do is play safe again. Trying to hide the cue ball behind the 9. Looks like I got it since he has to kick at it again. Opponent makes another good hit, but scratches. But look at this. Wouldn't y'all say this is rather quick? Maybe a little too quick? I mean, if this is the way my opponent plays, I mean, more power to him. If this is just like his normal rhythm, I would just venture to say that maybe he might want to take it down a notch. There, it looks like I must have been looking at how I'm going to transition from the 6 to the 7. Like, am I going to attempt to play a 7-10 combination, or do I want to get position on the 7 so that way I can maximize my points? Well, considering that I got flat on the 6 ball, normally I would not want to try to play position like that. But I made it work. Let's see. The question is am I going to run into that 8 ball if I successfully play this 7? Oh, never mind. It doesn't matter if I miss. And I do have position on the 8. Okay, good shot by my opponent. Okay, he seems to have taken it down a notch. And that looks right. So we got a pretty good close game this time. I think on the first 2 ones I was actually able to take a rather commanding lead. Okay, nice little pop break there. Doesn't look like he made a ball though. No. Tony, what is that? Is it label? No, I don't use the center to edge aiming system. I've covered the aiming system on my channel to the best of my ability at interpreting all the stuff that's out there, but I'm primarily a ghost ball aimer. So here comes a similar transition we've seen multiple times now. Look how unlucky I get. I remember my opponent even said, "Oh, you know, great shot," and then he goes, "Oh, that's unfortunate," because I get the breakout and then I get hooked at the same time. So all I attempt to do is play safe on that one. An unsuccessful safety since I didn't get the 3 ball to hide behind the 5 ball like I wanted to. Okay, looks like my opponent tried to answer back with the safety of his own, but not quite successful. Oh, I overcut the ball. So we get to see more mistakes from me during this set here. Uh-oh. Are we going back to the rapid pace? So I think here everything looks rather open to me to where I don't really have like, well, except for that, like clearly I don't want to have to bridge over the 8 to shoot the 5 ball. So I think that transition there was a bit of a mistake. It's not that it's too detrimental because I can just roll from the 5 to the 6. But it's not like I'm purposely trying to play position where I have to bridge over a ball. Actually, that was more like this. Position on the 7. And then probably what? 8 in the side pocket. Yeah, a little bit of right spin on that one, actually. So that way I can play the 8 in the side pocket. Draw back a little bit so I can play the 9 in the corner. Actually, that was a rolling cue ball. Is that right? No, it's not. Should be that, I think. All right, so I'm steadily increasing the lead now. There's the break I've been looking for. That is what I've been trying to do the entire tournament, and I happened to get it at least once during the final match. Like I made 2 balls on the break. What is that? That's definitely some amount of bottom spin. Not sure what I'm doing. Pull it to the side rail and back over so I can play the 3 ball into the bottom right corner pocket. More than likely set up for a 4-6 combination, I think. Or do I just play the 4 in the corner? So that would be this. Okay, so yeah, I'm setting up for the 4 in the corner. More than likely just the stop shot here. Stop shot, stop shot, stop shot. We're going to see very small cue ball movements here because the layout allows me to do that. Except for that. I'd rather be a little bit flatter so that way I don't have to risk this cue ball floating towards the 9 ball. But it works out just fine. So I think at the very least, we've seen me break and run a rack or 2 in every match. There we go again. Squatting the cue ball in the center of the table. Ooh, what did I make? 3 balls on the break there? Looks like I might have to settle for a 3-4 combination here, considering the shape that I have on the 2 ball. Yep, that's what I'm going to settle on. 3-4 combination. I think what's happening over here, like what's surrounding us is just probably another tournament. I think is like this whole area was just like there was just minis going on left and right. There was 8-ball minis. I don't know if there was another 9-ball mini going on at the same time. Oh, got the combination. Probably here, just come in between the 5 and the 7 to play the 5 in the opposite corner. Nope, never mind. That was bottom left to play it in the same corner. All 3 balls will be going in the same corner. Is this a 2-pack? It is. I managed to break and run 2 racks in a row. Three times I got the cue ball to squat in the center of the rack, which is what I've been doing. But on that third one, I break dry. Okay, nice shot there. It looks like he might have came a little short because he's going to have to move his cue ball a little bit to go from the 2 to the 3. Oh, never mind. He just decides to roll it. So you should be able to do the same thing here, rolling from the 3 to the 4. But I don't know. Would we venture to say that his pace might be his downfall? Because look, clearly 2 different styles of playing, right? Look how slow I'm playing versus how rapid my opponent is playing. Oh, crap. That was this. And I missed the ball anyway. Andrew Brooker, I can tell you that the rails were very springy. Nice shot. He just fires that one in. All right. Yes, that looks correct. My opponent's able to come back into the game here. There's a nice break. Oh, don't scratch, though. Never mind. 3, 6, 7, 8. Another dead ball. I think he scratched the same exact way, if I wasn't mistaken, right? Didn't he scratch in the lower right-hand corner before? Huh. So I wonder what I was doing when I was over here. Like what am I studying at this point here? Because when we start going into the shot and we can actually see the layout of the table, what do we have? Clearly we're going to do this. This is probably going here. This is probably going over here, I think. And then we've got either the 4 to go here or here. And so it looks like the real question about this layout is how do I go from the 6 to the 8 ball? That I would venture to say that's what I was trying to figure out when I was standing over here before I got started. So let's see if I have it all figured out when I start shooting. Okay, so there's the 1. Probably just roll this, or Did I not get what I wanted? Is that why I'm checking again? Maybe the 3-ball doesn't go. And I can't see what I'm putting on the cue ball. Maybe the 3 does go. I think that was done with a little bit of top left, so that way I can kill the angle, kill the outbound angle off of the short rail. I think I'm waiting for someone over here to shoot. Let's see here. Okay, so the 3 did win, or did go. And so, yeah, I would have to wonder, how am I going to get from the 6 to the 8? All right, that was a drawback from the 5 to the 6, or I'm sorry, from the 4 to the 5. I think I remember. I think I remember this one. This rack. Andrew Brooker, I don't think the 8-ball passes the 9, but I think I remember. I'm starting to remember now what I did here. I think everybody's gonna like this if it's what I remember. Because I'm definitely trying to figure out something like, you know, why am I not just getting down and shooting? Let's see, draw shot on the 5-ball. All right, that must have not ended the way I wanted it to, considering I did this, whatever that means. Oh, that's right. So this is what I thought. So first and foremost, noticed how I do this. All right, I'm not worried about this side pocket. This is cue ball controlled knowledge. That's pretty. I really like the way I did that. Even my opponent now acknowledged it and told me good shot. Okay, wing ball down. Doesn't look like I have shape on the 1. But I think I've got a commanding lead in here where I can possibly afford to be aggressive. I don't think I played safe here. So I do think I try to cross bank this to the side pocket. Yep, that's what I tried. Bumped into the 2, would have had might have had position on the 2-ball. If I would have made the 1-ball, the ending result might have been slightly different. And I don't know, what do we think? Do we think he's given up, or is this just the way he plays? I'm going to play a 2-9 combination. Yep. So what is that? 1, 2. How many balls were on the table? I missed that part. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 dead balls. There we go. Okay, make a ball on the break. Cue ball's getting bumped all over the place. I'm fortunate that I think I can see the 2 ball, which is going to be the next shot. Checking to see if I can actually get underneath the 8 ball to play the 2 into the corner. Because if I can't, I might as well just go ahead and play safe. Push the cue ball all the way through past the 8 ball and try to hide the cue ball behind the 8. But I think I'm going for it. Can't tell what I'm putting on the cue ball though. Yeah, I went for it. And I think we can say I got lucky there. Stun shot from the 5 to the 6. Was this top right? Oh, top left. Never mind. Friendly little bump on the 7. I don't think that was intentional. Bottom left spin to go from the 7 to the 8. What is this? Yeah, just rolling cue ball. Looks like this should be the, I think this should be the end of it here. People are nice enough to try to duck underneath my phone. Stun shot with some left spin. You can see where I wanted the cue ball to be. I don't think I knew what the score was at this point. Especially since I did that. So I think I actually have the score wrong. Let's see, I'm going to give him that. Do I have this? No, that's not right. 8, 9, somebody's missing a point. And it's clearly not me, because then the game would be over. I'm not sure at this point. But my opponent breaks. 3, 6, looks like he make 2 balls on the break. Doesn't have a shot at the 1 ball. Gives me ball in hand. I have to know what the score was now. Obviously, since I was sitting down keeping score. And I must not have 65, because otherwise I think I would have just shot this ball in. So definitely not done, or am I done right here? Nope, still not done if I'm doing that. I really got the score wrong on this one. But that must have been it right there. So if I did all that correctly, then I think that might be the final score. 66 to 25, 29 dead balls. Lots of dead balls in this one. And I think it was about 9 innings. Andrew Brooker, no, there are no jump cues allowed in APA. You can jump in APA, but you have to use your playing cue. You can't even use your break cue to jump. And since I use soft tips on my cues, it's very difficult for me to be able to jump with a soft tip. And what Garrett Williams says is correct. Only in Masters League, APA Masters League, can you actually use a jump cue. So I think what hopefully what we can see here is that for myself, it's a little bit more difficult for me to be as coaching as I can be in reviewing my own 9-ball match because, like I said, the pattern to run out is predetermined by always having to shoot the balls in rotation. So all I can hope is that, you know, the certain areas where I tried to break down something to where, like, you know, I'm already planning like 5 balls ahead, or I attempt to place the cue ball in a very particular location as I transition from one ball to the other because I'm about to go for what is called the key transition to be able to solve the rack. I hope all of those little tidbits and tips and stuff that I was able to provide, everybody can actually find useful, because even when I try to review APA 9-ball matches for my teammates, I always tell them like how difficult it is for me to actually coach, to say like, well, should you have played that ball, or should you have played safe, or do something, or let alone how you should have tried to transition going from one ball to the next. But hope everybody was able to enjoy what they saw here, and then of course be able to learn something as well. Okay, well, that pretty much wraps things up because that was the end of the tournament. I ended up winning $100 from that tournament. Let me see here if I can actually find the picture that I actually took, and I can actually share it with everybody. Let's see here. Let's go to my profile, or my Facebook page, not my Facebook profile. And let's go to my photos. Let's see here. Where is it at? Yes, it was this photo right here. So let's save this because I'm going to pull it down real quick, and then we're just going to quickly add it to the stream. All right, so let me do this. I did all that work, because between being invested, this to me is the funny part, because between being invested $20 already for the there we go, being invested $20 to enter the tournament. And then Lord knows, like literally how many dollars was I actually putting into the table, as well as my opponent, since we're trading back and forth to be able to alternate pay for each of the matches. How much money was I actually invested in to win $100? So what was my actual profit? If I remember correctly, I think I profited. Oh, good Lord, what did I profit? $60 maybe, because I want to say that I think I must have invested close to $20 in just coins. I would have to go back and count every single solitary rack where I ended up paying versus what my opponent paid. But I wasn't doing this for the money, right? I mean, I still, if I profited $50, that's $50 I'm gonna go dump into the slot machines over in Las Vegas to have some fun. I played in this because I don't get to play APA 9-ball anymore here locally. As a skill level 9, it's very difficult for me to be able to get onto a team, because with the 23-point rule handicap, I take my skill level takes up more than a third of the roster for a 5-player roster on a given night. So once my teammates' skill levels started going up, I pretty much had to quit. And I haven't been able to play again now for I don't know. I think it at least has been a couple of years since I've played APA 9-ball. I'd love to be able to play again, but who knows when I'll be able to until we start getting some lower ranked players back on the team. Okay, so yes, that is pretty much going to end things for the night. I do see a question here. Cue ball control sometimes says, do you believe that 14-1 is the best training tool for most games? Most games. Probably gonna have to say no, in my opinion. What I can say, it's obviously a good game. It's now my favorite game to practice. I mean, that's really what I really enjoy doing in my garage is practicing 14-1 straight pull, as I'm still trying to be able to run 100 balls because I haven't been able to do it. I've only done 79 twice. That's the best that I've ever done. But playing straight pull, you wouldn't necessarily move your cue ball around like you would playing 9-ball or 10-ball. What I can say, though, is playing straight pull a lot has significantly helped my 8-ball game because the transitions in 8-ball are very similar to the transitions in straight pull. Minimize your cue ball movement to maximize your run-out potential. In straight pull, you're also not doing jump shots. You're very rarely doing bank shots. You're doing a lot of combos, right? Every game, when you think about it, every game has certain types of skills that can actually play into one another. When you saw one of the layouts that I had in one of those 9-ball racks where all I had to do was just minimize my cue ball movement, just like you would in 8-ball or straight pull. Sometimes in 8-ball, you see me have to hit a transition like you would in 9-ball because you won't always have to try to minimize your cue ball movement. Sometimes the layout of the table dictates that you have to try to move your cue ball from one to the other. So it's always very helpful to play every game that's out there. Even this here, Andrew Brooker says one pocket may be better as the game to play that helps you with all games. Because playing one pocket, you do have to really try to move your cue ball around in order to be able to play all different types of shots into a single pocket, as well as being able to creatively bank the ball or bank balls around to get the A ball to go into your pocket. So each game requires a different type of strategy. Each game requires different types of transitions, though some of the transitions actually relate to one another as you go from game to game. So is there really like one game that rules them all? I don't think so, in my opinion. I think they all serve their own benefits. They're all played differently from one another, and they all require similar types of skills, but also different types of skills at the same time. So it would be, if I understand what your question is geared towards, you still just have to practice all of them, or play all of them and practice all of them if you want to be an all-around type of player. I think that would in my opinion. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Well, I think that's pretty much going to wrap things up for the evening. Let me see here. I don't know how many viewers I've been having here. But I do see that I have 67 likes on YouTube. There's 44 of y'all left here with me. I really do appreciate that. Not entirely sure how many viewers I have left on Facebook. It looks like I might have about 10. I really appreciate anybody that's watching me on Facebook as well. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up for the night. Not entirely sure when's the next time I'm going to go live. Now that I've reviewed my Vegas mini matches that I have, I still got to get my Scotch Doubles partner over here, so that way we can review some, if not all, of our Scotch Doubles matches, because I have those downloaded as well, because we streamed them live on my Facebook page when they happened. There was a total of 5 matches before we got eliminated, because if I remember correctly, we did lose the first match, but we were playing in a modified single elimination tournament where we were guaranteed to play twice. We just weren't guaranteed to lose twice. And so since we did lose the first match, we were not eliminated from the tournament. And then so after that, we were able to play 4 more matches before we lost. All of them were live streamed. I have all of them ready to review, but I want to review them with my partner here with me, so that way you can hear from his perspective what it was like playing as my partner, and then of course what it was like playing for him playing in Vegas, because it was the first time he's ever been to Vegas. So I was very thankful to be a part of that, to give him that opportunity. I just don't know when we're going to be able to do it. We talk about it all the time, but you know, he's a working man, I'm a working man. The schedules just have to be right for both of us to be able to do it. But do know that that's going to be coming, hopefully here in the near future. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off. If you haven't done so already, please give the stream a thumbs up on Facebook or YouTube. It does not matter. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing to the channel. If this live stream really wasn't enough for you to gain your subscription, maybe at least check out some of the other content that I have on my YouTube channel, and maybe after checking out a couple of videos, if you like what I produce, then consider subscribing to the channel, because I'm really trying to make sure, or I'm really trying to push forward in being able to get 100,000 subscribers, so that way I can get that that YouTube select plaque. And then of course also consider following me on my Facebook page as well, because sometimes I do things strictly just for Facebook, but a lot of times I do things strictly here for YouTube. What else? Oh yeah, don't forget, check out my last live stream when I announced my sponsorship to JFlowers. If you want to have an opportunity, to win this 3x5 soft case, as well as the JFlowers Dante 1 playing cue that is inside, as well as a single piece of Taom chalk. Check out the live stream and follow the directions to be eligible for that giveaway, which I will be announcing the winner of that giveaway sometime next week. So I think that pretty much wraps things up. Thanks everybody for being here, and have a good night.